Welcome to your 12 sign horoscopes for the full moon coming up in Capricorn on the 29th. In this episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, I'm going to be walking you through what all 12 signs need to know to really thrive, to really make the most of this dynamic and pressurized tense full moon. And it really comes down to being this. And it really comes down to a lot of different things involving timing. And timing really is big for this full moon because it is all about the grand design, isn't it? It's all about surrendering to what we cannot control, surrendering to all these different things, into our feelings, into our intuition, not having the structure, not having the rigidity. And so in this episode, I'm going to be, as I said, going to be discussing all 12 signs in depth. So let's tune right into this episode. Okay, so in this video, I want you to tune in for your sun, moon, and rising sign. You want to know your sun and rising sign most predominantly. And then your moon sign is sort of third onto that. It adds a more emotional, intuitive component to it. So I'm going to be delving into Aries. I'm just going to dive right in because there's a lot to discuss here with this full moon. So, Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. And by the way, if you don't know your moon and rising sign, you can go to astro.com and look that up. Your natal birth chart, finding that information is really valuable. So delving in here with Aries, I want to discuss Aries. What this really comes down to, Aries, is the feelings that you're choosing to face and the feelings you're choosing to deny. The feelings you're choosing to fess up to, and the feelings you choose to leave behind the curtain, because this has to do with the strong need to be, strong, tough, resilient, this brave, assertive, independent person going after whatever you wish to go after in your life. This brave person who wishes to go after what they want, and be fierce and be courageous and be a warrior and be pioneering, because Aries can be a warrior sign, and actually the low stereotype of Aries is the angry warrior, really falling into that category of being. And so, Aries can fall into the category of being an angry warrior. And so there's this quality of being really tough, of being really sturdy, and all that kind of thing like that. Okay, so there is this need here to be strong, to be so strong and tough that you will not be broken, that you are invincible. And this full moon is saying that this strong ability that you put so well into yourself is not working for you. Because this full moon eliminates what areas of life are not working. And in this case, it deals with the vulnerability aspect of it. It deals with you needing to be vulnerable. So during this full moon, maybe an invitation to loosen up the tough, tight ways of being that you have, and to be vulnerable. To really be vulnerable and open to feeling, open to joy, open to sadness, open to all the spectrum of emotions. I mean, you're asked to be, whatever you are being, and that is vulnerability. And vulnerability is a kind of strength that we need to exercise and understand about ourselves. So, that is a strength we need to remember about vulnerability and the need to be really emotionally open. And so with Aries, this is a good opportunity to loosen up the tough reins and just feel. Open up to your feminine side. Open up to your emotional side. Open up to your more tender side. And just lean in and feel all the feelings. Feel all the feelings that you need to feel. All that needs to come out and be what it is. I mean, let it be and let it flow and feel it. The next thing is not having to prove your worth with needing to follow along the lines, needing to just conform to what society and what authority figures and what people in your life want you to do. You are worthy of doing your own thing, marching to the beat of your own drum, being an independent warrior, and coloring outside the lines, going outside the lines. This is very, very special for you. You know, you are worthy of not having to conform to all these rules and all these standards of having to do things in a certain way, of having to sacrifice what you want for just other people and society, and having and you know, I'm not saying that, you know, you're worthy of having everything, you know, going your way, because we have to surrender to the divine plan, but, you know, you're worthy of being, you know, like what I was saying from a woman that I follow very closely. She was saying, like, how a tree can be really, really straight, but then it can curve, you know, around. Like, you are liberated now to bend as much as you want to bend. To, you know, to really be the bend in the wind, to go as curvy as you want to. So be like that tree and be curvy. Be like that tree and exercise a little bit of knowledge about yourself when it comes to standing out. And then the final thing is, what old truths about self-assertion need to be left behind? Because actually, self-assertion is not needing to be like an ego thing entirely, where you're just, you know, being just sort of, I'm this and I have this to say and I have these agendas and that. Well, it could utilize the ego for sure, but I think that it's more of a soul thing, where you know yourself, you love yourself very, very deeply. You have a strong sense of sovereignty and faith about yourself and love for yourself, that you are not willing to give that up and sacrifice that for anyone or anything, and you are willing to, you know, to really stand up for yourself because you care about yourself, because you love yourself very, very deeply. So this full moon is asking you around this time to, you know, and keep in mind the Mercury retrograde horoscopes I did the other day, which you can go back and see. But what old truths need to be left behind about the asserting quality, the assertive mannerism of standing up for yourself. That it doesn't have to be just a selfish thing. It can be something that you do because you love and care and value yourself, that you are being sovereign, you're being in your power, and you want the best for yourself. And that's really why we stand up for ourselves, is an active, courageous self-love. So that is sort of the food for thought for Aries during this time. Now, moving on to Taurus. There is this need to provide here with Taurus. There's this need to commit to obligations. There's this need to always prove yourself in the material world, with all that you're doing on the material plane, all the work that you're doing, all the texts you're doing, all the food you're cooking, all the buildings you're building, all the trees that you're planting, all these things on the material plane you are doing, and how redefining your worth can come about where this doesn't have to be the case exactly. This doesn't have to be the case, where work and obligations prove your worth. It can actually be fairly, you know, liberating to know that you are worthy regardless of all that. That you are worthy, you know, regardless of all the obligations, all the, you know, the work, all the stress, all the, you know, the whatever. You know, that you are worthy of just being as a, you know, a soul being, and you know, that you it's not that you're not worthy of that. Okay, so now getting back to Taurus, let's talk about Taurus. So, Taurus. Now, there's this need to always, there's this need to always prove your worth. This need to really, with the material work that you do, to always prove how worthy you are. And so, knowing that you don't have to build up your wealth alone, you don't have to build up, your finances alone, your money alone, you don't have to build up your life alone. You can have help, and you do have help along your pathway. You do have support, people to come in and help you out with whatever you're doing, whatever business endeavor, whatever task you're trying to build up enough money to do this thing or go to this vacation or buy this thing. I mean, you have help and you have support. And you don't have to do this alone. Like, kind of reminds me of myself right now. I kind of had an issue with the previous episode of Spotify not being able to get it uploaded because of a technical difficulty. And, the issues happening on there are unlikely. But if they do happen, then I do know that I have help on there. I have, advisors to, support me on there with whatever issue that I have going on. And that's what I will, remember from this point forward. Anyway, there are others in life. And then the final thing is, can you see things as they are? Can you see things as they objectively are in your real life? Can you see things as they truly are? Because knowing that nothing is exactly certain in life, there are no exact certainties and absolutes in life. It just comes down to, the likelihood of things. I mean, I will argue that there's some certainties, but kind of reminds me of the issue that I had to deal with, that it is very, very uncertain, but still. So, can you see things as they objectively are, Taurus? Can you get out of the need for absolute certainty with everything? Can you surrender the need to always have things figured out, always have things planned out and mapped out exactly? And can you, release this need for certainty and security, because certainty and security go hand in hand? And can you let go of this really, really strongly? And this can really, really help you out in a lot of areas of your life to support you on your pathway in life. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Gemini, moving on to Gemini. So with Gemini, the energy of Gemini is, really, really easy, very, very freeing, very, very liberating, really, really light-filled, really, really airy, and a lot of energy, a lot of vitality to it. And so this energy might not be the most compatible to Gemini energy, because that Sagittarius full moon really, really lit you up. So did the Gemini new moon, really activated you really positively. But now the energy is really, really tense, and you're not exactly knowing what to do with the energy, because it's so tense and so about structure and routine and rules and obligations and this and that. And so how are you going to act on that tension? How are you going to act with the tension of the energy, the structured, cold, really, really, material, practical energy? And what are you going to do with the tension? Are you going to stop, being non-committal and going to this place and going to that place and scattering yourself all around? And instead you're going to act and be open to the fact that you need structure and you need routine and things in the 3D realm to work according to a plan and a system. So this tension really is getting you right in the nail, right in the head. This Capricorn full moon is asking you to really face the truth that you are afraid to face about being willing to climb up the mountain, being willing to achieve, being willing to do all this stuff really easily. And that's the first thing. And the second thing is this is coming down to breaking free from those who tell you how to be, how to live, how to think, how to speak, how to view the world, and really telling you what to say and what to think in this very restricted structure. And knowing that they aren't in charge of your life. Knowing that they are not in charge of your life, that you are the one in control, you are driving the ship. And can you break free from any pattern of being told what to think, what to say, having to conform to this person's needs and what they going to this place and having this conversation with this person, having to cater to them, having to say the right thing to them and to get along. I mean, all these kind of things. Like, can you break free from that? I think that you'll find, like, you liberate yourself to speak your truth and live in your mind's courageous eye, then you will really be very liberated to live that life that you want to live, Gemini. And then the final thing with Gemini is, can you listen? Because Gemini is so up in the head, so up in the mind with all its thoughts and, distractions and thinking and all these kind of things like that with, what it thinks and what it learns about and what it does with all its intellectual sort of arenas of its life. And it's about listening to yourself and getting out of the head, getting out of the chatter of the mind and the intellect and dropping into your feelings, dropping into what you feel. What's going on for you emotionally? What's going on for you spiritually? What's going on in that internal level? You're really being there to listen to that, and you are a detached sign, so it may be hard for you to tune into your feelings, tune into your gut, your heart, your emotional body. This takes stopping all the stimulation, maybe get off technology for a little bit, stop, go out in nature, take a breath, spend some time alone with yourself, and just feel into what you're feeling. Maybe try journaling about it. Maybe try automatic writing. There's something called that. There's a voice app where you're just speaking your feelings. It could be where you are just going out in nature and really just walking around in nature and feeling your emotions as you just go about your walks in nature. That's what it could really be for you, Gemini. So whatever you do as a means of feeling your emotions, as a means of really tuning in, that's where the answer lies, is what you actually gain from your emotional center, from your emotional well-being, in that kind of way. So then moving on to Cancer. What mountain do you want to climb? What mountain do you want to climb in your personal home life specifically? This, because your opposite sign Capricorn is about climbing mountains. It's about achieving things. It's about going out and making things happen. It's about going after goals and really being very high up in the status and the state of the achievement and the recognition and the accomplishment of that goal. So what in your personal life do you want to achieve? Do you want to achieve greater peace in your family? Do you want to achieve greater peace in your home? Do you want to achieve more emotional security? Do you want everyone in your family to be productive and feeling good about their lives? because Cancer deeply cares for its loved ones and deeply cares about others and very emotionally wants to nurture them and really, really wants the best for them. So what do you want to achieve when it comes to that? What are your goals when it comes to that? And then what is difficult inside of you that needs to be faced? What is the difficulty brewing inside of you right now? That needs facing in terms of difficult emotional truths to face. Difficult emotional truths that you may be denying, or an emotional pattern that you're continually engaging in, whatever that is, overeating, repressing emotions, or just wallowing in self-pity is another one, wallowing in negativity, doing crazy things out of this need to protect yourself, working so hard and not really leaning in. I mean, whatever it is for you, Cancer, it could be, where you're baking cupcakes and cookies because you're afraid of really feeling. So, what is a difficult emotional truth that, okay, I'm responding to my emotions in this way and it's not working out for me. What do I need to release in this case? What do I need to let go of in this case to find better clarity and peace inside myself when it comes to this specific emotional pattern that I'm engaging in? What is difficult inside of me that I need to face? And then, as I've already said before, kind of repeating myself, what is the challenging thing that you need to accomplish in your home life? Maybe we can get around to that. Maybe we can get around to achieving something that may be challenging, like a task around the house, or whatever it is in your home life that can really, really serve you really, really well around the time of this particular full moon. So moving on to Leo. Leo, I want to ask you, how are you cutting yourself off from your inner sixth sense, from your intuition? Are you just using the ego? Look at me. I want all the attention. I'm the one in charge. I'm the one in control. Listen to me. I should have the final say. Darn it. And I want to be in control, and I want to raise my voice even louder than I did before and be the most controlling, domineering, strongest, proudest person because I want to be more radiant and I want to be better than everybody else. Like this kind of egoic thing, is not going to serve you. That's the low root of Leo energy, is the ego. The high root of Leo energy is really, really leaning into what your heart is saying, leaning into your heart senses, your sense of self inside of your heart, and your intuition inside of your heart. Can you listen to your inner senses of what they're saying? Because they may be saying, go another way, stop being so controlling. They may be saying to let others share the spotlight with others. They may be saying collaborate. They may say go write a book or poetry or write that book that you want to write, or go to this place that you want to go to really, really mind your own business and make the life that you want to live, because ultimately, Leo, you're the one in control of your own life. And you shouldn't try to control others' lives with their authenticity, what they try to do, because really, we're all humans, and we all have souls, and we all want to do certain things. We have to respect what each other wants to do and be free and independent to do what we want to do, not be tied down by others, and also not tie others down in that process. So that's what it means to be authentic, is to allow others to be authentic as well. So that is really what you can remember with that. Okay, so that's the first thing. Is trusting what feels right. Dropping the ego. And does this choice really feel right? Does this choice of my ego really feel right? Or am I trusting my intuition? Am I trusting my intuition to really, really guide me with doing the creative things that feels right, expressing what's in my heart that feels right? How are you being productive in your heart-centered desires? How are you actually achieving what you want in your heart? Are you achieving what you want on a heart-based level? And achieving your dreams, and it's not working because you're not utilizing what your intuition is giving you. You're not utilizing going after the gifts of your intuition. With your intuition sort of telling you certain things and advising you to go certain ways, that your intuition may ask you to act on certain feelings and intuition, and want you to do these certain things very, very effectively. And it can be where you are trusting your intuition and really, really making the things happen in your life on a heart-centered place, in a heart-centered way. So in what area of life are you feeling uncertain? Any uncertainty, any stuck and stagnant energy where you want certainty over the physical realm, over the mundane practical realm, over the 3D realm of what you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. And there's this need here to let your heart go, to let things go, to let this need for absolute certainty and absolute knowledge of this is going to work out in a certain way at a certain time go, letting it go, and just dropping into an energy of love and trusting in the universe that it's all going to work out fine. It's all going to be fine in the end. It's all going to be wonderful. The path may not be certain, but it will be what it will be, and it will be from God-centered place and from God-centered space, and it will be God putting its wisdom on down to you and putting its wisdom onto you when it comes to really, really leaning into your heart space and acting from that place. So that is that. So, that's really the thing for Leo to keep in mind, is that, that when they're in their ego, like the ego needs certainty, it needs that hard, that knowledge that's going to be fine. It's going to be, that's going to all go fine, that it needs the fixed certainty that I have control over my life. I can absolutely shine in my own light, that I'm the best, I'm the star, and wanting all the lights and all the attention on me. But can you surrender into your intuition in your heart? When you're in your heart, you're expressing your creative gifts, and when you're in your heart, you allow others to do the same. You allow others to shine as well. And the high word of Leo is sharing the spotlight with others, allowing others to be in their own light in addition to your own. Now moving on to Virgo. So Virgo, I want to ask you really, really, critically here. What needs to be addressed in your life, what needs to really, really be, addressed when it comes to your habit patterns, when it comes to your, all the habit patterns that you're engaging in, that you're really, really doing, when it comes to all these things that you intend to act upon in your life. This comes to looking down at your habit patterns. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? Because Virgo rules your habits. Virgo rules what you do on a day-to-day basis that is habitual. The waking up in the morning, the brushing your teeth, the getting the kids ready, for school if you have kids, to clean up the house, to go to work, to do what you need to do at work, to come home, to do whatever you need to do at home. Like all these habit patterns. Maybe that's the routine. But like the habit patterns, really, really paying close attention to your habit patterns. And what habit patterns serve you and which do not. You will really be able to be discerning about this really, really strongly, because Virgo is a very discerning, discriminating sign. It can really, really help you out in this quite a bit with discernment over your over what you do, and making sure that your habit patterns like walking or exercising or whatever are healthy habit patterns. And can you really lean in? Feel and act on the feelings that prompt you to turn things around. in your life that prompt you to change, because Virgo needs this rigid structure, the same things happening over and over again, the same routine. It needs the familiarity, it needs the same quality of what it's doing, of what it's experiencing. So, how can you act in ways that serve others while also serving yourself, Virgo? Because that's part of what it is. It's about serving yourself and taking care of your own vessel and taking care of your own physical and mental well-being by eating right, waking up in the morning, maybe doing your meditation if you do that in the morning, to walk, to rest, to spend time alone doing your own thing, to take care of all the little behind the scenes details, to not always be everyone's getting in pig, always be everyone's mother or assistant or needs meter that help them out with every little thing that goes on in their lives. So now you're being invited to really, really focus on what you want to do for yourself, how you want to serve yourself. Instead of having to worry about the duty and obligation toward others, it comes down to the self really, really strongly. And are you trusting your intuition, or is it just merely logic? Are you trusting your intuition, or is it just what you are doing on autopilot, what you're doing on that kind of, a logical spectrum of being? Because Virgo can get really, really caught in the logical mind. In the mind that just has these agendas and wants to do these certain things, and has a certain system, has a certain structure, and a certain order to what they are doing. So, how can you trust your intuition? How can you trust that part of you that just knows what is right and knows what to do at the right time, and knows what is best for you, that is not based on the limitations of the logical mind? It's not based on that kind of thing going on at all. It is based on something more. It is based on something which is inherent within you, that is deeply intuitive, deeply spiritual for you. And so that's what you can really turn to, is your spiritual intuition. Your guiding compass is really what you're being invited to lean into now. Is your intuition, and not just relying on logic to just be the be-all, end-all for what you do in your life and how you serve others in your life, but really serving others because it feels right to serve, it feels true to serve, it feels like you want to help out and make a difference, because Virgo wants to serve and help out and make a difference in others' lives. So not acting from a place of the limited logical mind, because Virgo can get caught in the analysis and the details and the logic, and the fixing of these details in the logical mind and this and that. But how can you tune into your opposite sign? Because the South Node is in your sign right now, and it's finishing up its stay in Virgo right now. So you're being invited to transcend logic and move into your intuition. Moving on to Libra now. So with the sign of Libra, okay, so Libra, are you determined to have the best relationships? Are you determined to have these, these right relationships? These relationships with the partner really cares for you. The partner really wants the best for you. I discussed on your Mercury retrograde in Cancer horoscope the other day about the need to be liked and the need to have others' approval, but the ones who truly care for you and the ones who are the closest to you really, really like you and see the full beauty of who you are. Because you are a beautiful sign. You have such grace and such diplomacy and such balance, and the need to harmonize and be all of this, that are you determined to really have the best kind of relationships? Because Capricorn is the best. It's the highest peak. It's the best possible thing you can achieve. It is really, really, allowing yourself emotions that are emotional, relationships that are emotionally nourishing for you. Relationships where there's a bond between you and another person that is deeply fulfilling and deeply nurturing. that is so much so that you feel like you can just be yourself in this relationship, because often you have to put up with, putting your emotions aside, always tending and always listening and always catering and taking care of the other's emotional needs, taking care of the other. It's about the other. It's about pleasing them. It's about, because that's how relationships work, because you can't focus on yourself. But actually, relationships are a two-way street. It's the balance between you and the other person. So relationships should be reciprocal. You should take care of their emotional needs and their emotional desires and whatever, and they should take care of yours really, really easily. So that's what it should be, is, having the best relationships, the best kind of relationships, where you will not settle for anything less than you deserve when it comes to the whole realm and spectrum of relationships, that you are going into relationships fully, open-heartedly, and willing to have the best relationship possible, as I've said before. So relationships settling where the person, is very emotionally tender, very, very emotionally warm, very emotionally caring. And are you allowing play to be present in relationships? Maybe it's so much about the work aspect of relationship and making the relationship work, and it has to be so hard in this. Well, what about being present with the relationship? What about enjoying the precious moments that you can have with that other person or with family or whoever that you're missing out on if you're so stuck in the seriousness of it? What can you do to focus on the fun aspect of relationship? Focusing on enjoying all these kind of things like that. Enjoying doing things that are fun with the partner, playing a game, walking outside, going somewhere, sharing a moment, having a conversation. I mean, whatever you do in relationship, whatever it is for you in relationship, because all relationships are different. Everybody does different things in relationship. So are you allowing play to be present in this relationship, as I've said before? Or is there a lot of hard work that needs to be done to keep the relationship afloat? Is there a lot of, difficulty that needs to be had in that area of your life so that it can be maintained for you? So is there the hard work, or is there the ease in that relationship, with what you're doing in that kind of a way? And then where do you need to end a certain pattern in a relationship that's not serving you, like a people-pleasing pattern or a denying emotional pattern? Or, I'm just going to look up examples of relationship patterns so that I can discuss this with you. There is a pattern that I'm seeing here. I'm just going to list some of these off. I'm not going to list all these, but criticize, defend, as it says here, where this partner, where you're in a relationship with, where others criticize you, where others criticize you and judge you for who you are, judge you for who you uniquely want to be, and what you're saying, and the value of what you're saying, how valuable and important it is, and if it's not good enough, if it's not correct, if it's mean, where one partner criticizes the other, and then you act in a self-defensive way. You are defending yourself because they criticize you, they got back at you. And so maybe this is a relationship pattern that you are seeking to amend and fix. And the fixing is the conversation. The fixing is not the fighting and the defensiveness and the argument and the reactivity, because especially during the Mercury retrograde that's taking place beginning on the day of this full moon, but the listening, the having conversations. Maybe the need to have a conversation if one person is criticizing the other, and you are being criticized and you're reacting, or the other way around, where you're having conversations where you're talking, where you're talking and the other is listening, and vice versa. You're having a conversation, you're exchanging information, and you're getting along in that kind of way where you're not we're not in argument, because really arguments do not make room for healthy relationships. Conversations where there may be a disagreement and are talking about the things that need to be talked about, with each other sharing their perspective in a diplomatic, fair, balanced, considerate way, which is in a way where the two are working together as opposed to separating themselves apart. Like having a conversation and like airing out their differences to be able to form something harmonious and peaceful toward another, where the people are being assertive and not aggressive, where they're airing out their differences, and then they're coming to a peaceful conclusion. They're coming to a peaceful compromise and an agreement, and then harmony is restored. So maybe this pattern needs to be put in the relationship really, really handedly. So that may be something, looking at the relationship patterns, looking at what serves you, what doesn't. Now, Scorpio, how can you more deeply listen to what you're feeling? What's going on emotionally, because you may have feelings at this time that may be very, very deep, that may be very, very profound for you. And this feeling may be the case where you are repressing the shadowy emotion, because it's so deep. It's so in the shadows. It's so dark. We're afraid to feel it. We're afraid to face it. And how can you help yourself get through the very, very dark emotions that you may be feeling right now? How can you help yourself get through these very, very dark feelings? Because Scorpio has a lot of dark feelings, a lot of dark emotions, because it goes through a lot of difficult, dark experiences. So with these dark experiences, making you feel these feelings of just betrayal and loss and sadness and grief and despair and hatred and cynicism and real scaredness over life, and it could be also paranoia that could come in. Whatever the dark emotion is, are you allowing yourself to resolve it? Because the full moon asks you to culminate something, asks you to complete something. So are you resolving that, that emotion? And are you more deeply listening to to what you're feeling in this way, and acting on the intuition of what it is really saying for you in this way? Okay. And then, all right. So, where have you worked so hard? Or are you slaved away? Because Scorpio can be super intense. It can put its passions where the door is. It can put its passions in the proper place, in the proper pastures, because it is so passionate about something. It has an intensity. It just goes all in, and it tends to destroy itself with its kind of tendency to go all in with things. And so where have you worked so hard that you haven't allowed yourself the time to rest and the time to just relax and be gentle and take things one step at a time and go slowly, which are the lessons of Taurus, which is about taking your time and allowing yourself time to heal through these feelings, and not just going at something full on intensity with what you're passionate about, because of this need to heal these things and not feeling and not integrating these emotions, and just doing something intense is just sort of distract and take your focus away from the feelings that you need to address and the feelings that you need to heal. Because at best, Scorpio deals with its shadows, it deals with its stuff. It heals and it feels what it needs to heal and feel. And it's the best, it's the mountaintop peak of that. It goes to the mountain in the high road, and it climbs up with the scroller with the nuts, and it goes up and it says, face the truth, goes back down, feels way better. So can you really, really, face up to what you need to when it comes to that work so hard timing. And where has reality gotten the better of you, and forced you to be present with reality? Because Scorpio doesn't want to be here in this reality. It wants to just smoke and have, do drugs and do whatever. So Scorpio just wants to merge, wants peace, wants to cave in, wants to crawl into a hole, wants to be in its own house, be in its own room, retreat from the world. Scorpio wants to retreat from the world because it is so sensitive to how negative the world is. So tuned in to the dark sides of humanity. It's so tuned into how the negative aspects of what we do and how we act and how we behave. So it can really, really turn in on itself when it comes to that. And so, where it asks you to be, where it asks you now, Capricorn is the sign that deals with reality. So it deals with facing the real world. It deals with being in the practical reality, being in the 3D reality, getting your stuff done, getting your tasks done, doing things that you need to do in the 3D reality, make things happen for yourself. So that's what it sort of deals with. And maybe you were forced to be present. Maybe now you're being invited, not forced to be present with your reality, without, without the emotional nourishment, in place here. Maybe there's this emotional nourishment pattern that kind of thing where you're in your reality, but you can't be emotionally nourished. You can't be taken care of physically, emotionally. So it may cause you to feel very, very sad and lonely and want to go in and want to cave in and want to retreat like Cancer. But Capricorn says, get out and make things happen. So can you take care of yourself, emotionally nourish yourself, and then get out into the world, then get out into reality with what you need to do, in your present reality, Scorpio, with what needs to happen in that kind of way for you. So then, what old truths about emotional nourishment can you let go of now? There's this truth around needing others to nourish you, needing others to take care of you, needing others to bend at your every bone, bend your every need and take care of every need that you have for yourself. And maybe it's time now where you can, can support yourself, supporting yourself with what you need to nourish within yourself, to take care of yourself, take care of what you need to take care of. These certain truths around always needing others to nourish you, always needing others to take care of you. What about yourself? What about being self-sufficient, to nourish yourself, to be strong, to be your own best friend? Even though it's hard, it may be very, very difficult, but you have what it takes to get through whatever challenge that you're dealing with in your life right now, Scorpio. And can you do your meditation, do your journaling, do whatever spiritual practice helps you feel safe, helps you feel nourished, helps you feel a sense of peace and calm about your life, a sense of feeling solid about your life, a sense of feeling like life will be fine, everything will be fine, I am safe and am protected. And in that way, you're nourishing yourself. Where the external validation, Scorpio, I don't think that you're ever going to have enough external validation. I think that the external validation is going to be a bottomless pit. It's going to be a bottomless pit. Where now, it can be really about excuse me, where it can be about, not seeking everyone's validation, but taking care of yourself on the physical level, taking care of your own well-being, taking care of your own vessel, your own body, and your own life. That's what it can be here. And, how you can support yourself during this very, very difficult time is really, really huge for you. Being self-sufficient in that way. So then Sagittarius, what emotions do you need to process in your life? Certain emotions to process, because Sagittarius, you're not exempt from this human experience. No. What emotions do you need to process in order to heal and find the wisdom in these emotions, find the healing in these emotions? And you can find a lot of wisdom in the emotions, once you feel them, but you cannot find the wisdom without feeling the feelings first. It takes feeling the feelings and then really, really going through the emotional process to find the hidden messages and the deeper messages of that wisdom that you're finding in there. So that's what it can really be. And what do you need to work through emotionally? That's really what you're being asked. And then where have you allowed authority figures in your life to cut off your feelings? Where have you allowed authority figures to cut off your need for freedom? Your need for soul growth, your need for liberation, and all these kind of things like that. Where do you need to truly lean in, and ignore anyone who's too surprised to suppress that energy of yours that's really, really, loud and proud and dynamic and fiery and feisty and needs movement and needs experiences and needs freedom and all this kind of thing like this. Where can you, put aside people who tries to suppress this energy for you? Where have you allowed the authority figures in your life to keep you from freedom, to keep you from being free? Where does this pattern need to be released? Where have you allowed, because Capricorn is the authority, where have you allowed the authority figures in your life to define your worth and see they kept you back from exploring what you want to explore on a soul level? Because Sagittarius deeply lives from that soul-centered place. So can you let go of this, these authority figures that keep you from being your sovereign self and living that kind of life? And how does this need to always show up and go on adventures, go on adventures, put you in a trap with always going to this one place, going to another place right after that, exploring, doing this one thing, then doing this other thing, then doing this thing, doing that thing, and not focusing your energy on one particular thing, not taking your symbol, which is the arrow, which shoots it down into one particular direction and says, I'm going to go here. I'm going to focus my energy right here. I'm going to focus on what I want to manifest right here in my life with all my desires, and I am going to commit and go in fully to this thing. And so what is it about this thing where you need to follow through with this and needing to, really, really, follow through with this, with this goal, with this, with this endeavor that you're going through, where you need to have the goal, and the sign Capricorn comes after you saying, hey, have a plan, commit, make it sure it's for the long term. Actually take those beliefs and those truths and actually do something with those beliefs and truths. Actually make something happen in your life. Achieve, climb up the mountain, really, really go far to the heights and actually get practical about how you're going to actually do that. So that's what Capricorn can sort of bring into Sagittarius here as its sign. So how can you put a sort of, this need to go on adventures, this gives this need to always explore in all these different places. Maybe if you're traveling, spend time in that different place, get to know the people, get to know the culture. and focus, laser focus on what you want. Now, Capricorn, you don't need to prove how worthy you are as a human being just by your achievements and your accomplishments. I also was talking about you this in the Chiron and Taurus horoscopes. You may want to go back and hear that video. But so this is your full moon. The full moon is in your sign. So you're being asked to not let your worth and achievements keep you from feeling your emotions, being vulnerable, really, really leaning in, and understanding that you are worthy just as you are without having to prove anything. It's not about proving how powerful you are, how much you can do in the 3D world, how much you can work and put the effort into it and put the work and the strain, the pressure into it with all that you're doing, with all the hard work that you're trying to achieve. But you can actually just relax and stop trying to prove your worth and just be feeling worthy that I am enough, just by being, just by myself, just by me being myself in my own skin. I am worthy regardless. And if you don't feel this, do worthiness affirmations. There's all kinds of things that you can do to help you get into the energy of self-worth. Do the things that make you feel good about yourself. Instead of being so focused on the work and the obligation all the time, do what makes you feel good. Do what makes you feel happy. Do what makes you feel filled with joy. What uplifts you, what grounds you, what brings you in a state of peace, to make you feel worthy. Spend time around the people that help you to feel worthy. All these things that you can do that can help you feel this way. In what area of your life do you need to serve in? What area? Be it your relationships, be it your work, be it your career, or your romantic endeavors, or whatever area of life that resonates for you. May also be beneficial to look what house this falls in your chart, and if it doesn't resonate for you, then to be expected. But if it does, well, that's based on other factors in your chart combined. It may be helpful to look at the house where it's falling. The house it's falling for you is, your identity. So, the first house, which is your identity. So if you would resonate with it, there could be, some real aspects of yourself and your own healing that you may need to go through. But how is this role of service, holding you back? And I will allow myself to sort of mention the houses every now and then if I should want to, but it's in addition to the main forecast. So, but I'll allow myself to mention it. I'll allow myself to say, anything goes in these podcasts. Whatever I say goes. So how is this role of service holding you back from just being exactly as you are? How is this role to always do and achieve and show up and survive and to provide others and to do things for others and to be there, keeping you from being worthy, keeping you from your inherent worthiness just as you are authentically? So you're really, really looking at this really, really powerfully right now for you, in your life. It's like really, really looking at, that you don't need to, that you don't need to be the one that's always responsible for everybody, that always the one responsible for doing all the tasks and putting one foot in front of the other and being responsible for all these details of your life, micromanaging everybody and doing all this, that you can let go and just lean into your worthiness without always having to show up and be dutiful and do things that are socially acceptable, even though they don't feel right for you on an emotional level. Just, having to obligated to provide and serve others. And then also feeling like you have debts, that you have to make up these debts for the people that you feel like you really disappointed, that you weren't there for them, that you didn't give 110% effort to them. But it's really in your mind, it's really in your imagination. So this full moon is asking you to feel your feelings, really, really leaning in. And it's about using your ability to see things objectively, see things as they are truly, as a strength, Capricorn, and not as a weakness. Because you can easily get into, fear, just seeing things very, very negatively, seeing things, and part of being realistic is there's a positive element to it. There's a optimistic and potentially possible aspect of being realistic. So, what emotional truths, do you need to see with clarity? What certain truths going on in your life, in yourself, do you need to see with absolute clarity? Seeing these things with clarity and, and seeing things objectively, because you can detach and see things objectively and like, okay, where have I been overly productive and overly ambitious to focus on my work that I haven't prioritized my own emotional well-being? I haven't spent enough time with my family or my friends, or I've been denying myself, to eat cake, or to watch a movie that I want, or to cry, or to sing, or to be creative, or whatever you do to really, really express your emotions. And so where can you see, like, okay, I've held myself back, and where can you let go of that during this time? Now, Aquarius. What are the limitations in society that have held you back from growing into the version of yourself you were meant to become? Because Aquarius is here to be this high version of itself, which is here to evolve to actually the opposite sign of Leo. It's here to be its authentic self, march to the beat of its own drum, and be independent, be free and liberated to really, really be independent, and not base it around this need to always rebel and stand out and do all of this, but just to, really, really be, be free. And you are meant to be this person that it marches to the beat of your own drum and does value humanity as a whole and does want to contribute in your own way to humanity as a whole. You possess humanitarian ideals of thinking out for the common welfare of humanity, the common good of humanity. So you want to help it out. You really deeply care about humanity, and you are here to form your own ideals and your own principles and your own way of looking at the world. So really, really living a life where your scientific principles and your detached way of looking at the world, which is totally unique to you, is really, really in the forefront. Now, are you trusting your intuition, or just allowing logic to guide your decisions? Just allowing scientific, objective logic to rule your decisions? Because Cancer is an emotional sign. The sun's in Cancer at this time. It's time to tune into your inner knowing. It's time to tune into what your intuition is telling you. I've talked about this with other signs. Because Cancer really, really operates from its intuition. It's a sign of survival. It's a sign that survives, and how we survive is really our instincts, our gut, our first sense. So, so are you trusting your intuition, Aquarius? Are you trusting your intuition with what you need to do, how you need to show up in your life? Or is it time to tune into your intuition, time to tune into the inner knowing that can know, like, okay, this is the contribution I want to make, and I want to be liberated and free because my intuition is telling me. And then, is it not you are climbing to do good in all of humanity, in good graces? To be in, am I, whatever you're doing for your community or other people in your life, is it really worth doing? Is it really worth climbing up this mountain? Is it really worth achieving? Or is it just a waste of my time and a waste of my breath and energy? Is it really worth putting in all the effort if you will not receive anything in return for all the effort that you're putting into contributing to humanity, being selfless, being charitable, serving, all this effort that you're putting into showing up, doing the work, being a rebel, being an individual? How is this keeping you from climbing up your own mountains and not climbing up the mountains that other people want you to climb? Finally, Pisces. This is the transit where you want to use it to not give in to society's demands of how you should be. Because Pisces is sort of a sign that feels very, very, weird. It feels like if they're put in the fishbowl, then they do exactly what the person wants them to do. But Pisces, there's this sort of weird quality where it doesn't feel like it's imagination and its intuition and its dreams are just totally weird and out of everybody else, because Pisces and Aquarius are the two signs that feel different from everybody else because they're at a higher plane of existence than everybody else. Pisces comes from the higher realms, the 5D, the spirit world, and Aquarius comes from a higher, more idealized utopian place, more advanced scientific place. And so these signs can feel really, really out of balance with humanity and out of balance with life because they're just so above everything. And so just, they are, they feel really, really weird and don't feel like they necessarily belong in life. And so it's about, being your weird self, being your quirky self, to have the things that you say that other people may not understand, to have the artistic, creative endeavors that you do, to have the compassion that other people say, oh, well, life is tough and this and that. Well, you may not want to face the reality. Pisces doesn't want to face certain realities of this life because they're so tough, and it wants a more compassionate, loving society. And in the psyche of a Pisces, it's very, very against money. And I know this very personally because my Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, is in my second house of money and finances and the money that I earn. So, this could be the case here. So, it's time now to really, really detach from what reality wants you to face and really, really nurture yourself at this time. Spend this full moon to nourish yourself, to nurture yourself, to nurture your very being, to take care of yourself. Give yourself the food that you, well, not necessarily the food, but the love, the spiritual practices that you do, the care, the attention, that all this kind of things that you do. It's time to nourish yourself in all those ways that you can think to do so. And what is the difficult emotional truth you have been wrestling with that you previously ignored? Because Pisces doesn't want to face these certain truths. The deep and dark ones, they want to be fluid and flowing, but sometimes there's repression quality with Pisces because it wants to be very, very light and love and compassion and oneness and beauty and all this. But there may be some areas where you're separate from others, and these certain separational truths need to be faced. So you're ready to see these truths fully now. This full moon is illuminating these truths for you. It's about connecting to your own intuition, connecting to your own feelings, connecting to your own inner knowing, and don't let others steer you off course from tuning into your intuition, for tuning into your spiritual self, your soul-centered self, and living a life that is aligned with you according to your higher self, according to what you want on that kind of a level. So where you can connect to your, you can connect to really, really drop into that, and not letting, not needing external validation, like not saying, I have a feeling about this and I don't want to do this, and like, oh, come on, you're weak, that's just silly, that's not logical, that doesn't make sense, that has no basis on reality, do this, you're meant to be doing this. So if you constantly look for others outside of you for advice and suggestions, then you're going to go to this person, you're going to go to this person. It's going to be very, very confused because, wait, what this doesn't feel right to me. So it's about tuning into your own intuition, your own inner knowing, because only you know what's right for you, not basing it on what everyone else wants from you outside. Pisces is meant to live a life which is fluid, which is in the flow of its intuition. And you're meant to follow your intuition really, really strongly, with that quality of being deeply intuitive and deeply knowing what is truly right for you when you connect with not only your intuition, but your higher self as well. Okay, so that is the horoscopes for Pisces, and really all 12 signs for the full moon in Capricorn coming up on June 29th. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope that you got something out of it. I am definitely feeling, I shouldn't even, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. Anyway, I think that, doing this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I want to. I definitely felt more secure doing this kind of video as opposed to others. I definitely was more sort of energetic during this, so I really, really like that about this video and how it sort of went for me. But anyway, if you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, you can like this video, you can follow this podcast, you can do all this kind of stuff to support the channel, to help it grow. And also, I'd love you to join this community. If you are on a spiritual path, if you are a highly sensitive person, if you are really interested in deep and meaningful thematic astrology, then you're in the right place. I really would encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on my future content, my future videos, and I will see you in the next episode of this podcast. Until next time, take good care.